Right, hello wine drinking people. Time for more of what I've had to drink yesterday, and this our annual tasting with Domaine Weinbach, one of the greatest producers of Alsace. And well, we managed to get a dozen people here, well, 10 paid customers, and the wines are absolutely stunning. This is one of my favorite producers from anywhere in the world. Alsace, I want to say the unsung hero of the great whites. But these are wines that age for a long time. An area between the Vosges Mountains and the Black Forest that's very diverse in terms of its geology, and therefore they produce a lot of different varietals. Like I said, almost all white. They do a little Pinot Noir here and probably some other varietals that I don't even know about in small amounts. But the star here really is Gewürztraminer. They don't make anything better anywhere in the world in that category. And then the Muscat, also very good. Riesling, of course, they make great Riesling in Germany, but the Rieslings of Alsace are world class, as well as the Pinot Gris and the Pinot Blanc. So to me, almost every grape varietal they make here is at the top level of quality. All right, we started out with a little Pinot Gris Cuvée St. Catherine, 2011, and the last few vintages were very good. Actually, 13, the current release, a little difficult, just like in the rest of France, they were plagued with every malady. They had some rain, they had a bad fruit set, 10 to 40% reduction in harvest, and lower alcohol wines, very charming though, and producers like Domaine Weinbach do not make bad wines. All right, the 2011 Pinot Gris we started with, a lot of juicy fruit here. These 2011s, definitely a vintage to drink on the younger side. Very forward and seductive. Asian pear, kind of cantaloupe melon, hints of white flowers, lemon drop candy. Really delicious. A very elegant style. These Domaine Weinbachs, not over the top, and lovely creamy textures. This wine opens up. That lovely zesty minerality in the finish. A little bit of vanilla. Not that they use new oak in these wines to get that, but it had this like vanilla cream note to it. Excellent juice. All right, the Personnel Reserve. The Reserve Personnel is their entry level, but these wines are anything but entry level. The Pinot Blanc here from 2012, another excellent example of Pinot Blanc. 2012 growing season didn't start off good, but the 2012s have got good structure. That's one of the things I noticed putting 11, 13, and 12 together. The 12 seem like definitely they have the longevity here, and the fresh apple, kind of slate-like minerality you get there from the rocks in the terroir here. Some lemon, lime, citrus, really rich on the tongue. A solid core of ripe fruit, firm acidity, and excellent structure. This 2012 is a big vintage. This wine has a long layered finish, and even better on the second day. Definitely richer. This wine should last a decade in your cellar. Even though it's the entry-level wine, the Reserve Personnel. Riesling up next. This wine had that lovely lime citrus notes, so that slate mineral coming out in this wine, even more pronounced. That white peach, very forward and seductive. Textbook Riesling, juicy fruit cocktail like fruit on the tongue. Tangerine, white peach, apple, green apple. That slate-like minerality coming through in the finish. Very forward, very easy drinking vintage, very charming wines, and wonderful balance this 2013. All right, the Gewürztraminer. Like I said, these Reserve Personnel wines, just textbook examples of the varietal. This wine had that classic lychee nut fruit, a bouquet of fresh roses, peaches, lots of juicy fruit on the tongue, and that slight oily texture. One of the things Gewürztraminer can be is a little heavy, but that lovely perfume, that rose petal floral notes coming through on the finish, as well as a little white pepper spice. Excellent juice. Like I said, classic textbook Gewürztraminer from Alsace. The Muscat, wow, this had a really exotic bouquet. It went from rosemary to mint, and still had some nice white apricot fruit there. This 2009 vintage, the oldest wine on the table. And for an entry-level wine, this wine could still probably go a few more years. Wonderful balance. That lovely herbal note coming through on the finish, that minty character, and a wet stone minerality. Excellent juice. The 2012 Pinot Gris, getting into the higher level wines. These wines are all named after the family, or they named after St. Catherine's Day, which they're picked late, right around St. Catherine's Day. And this wine had a lovely richness to it, as the Pinot Gris from Alsace do. An Asian pear, kind of white peach, and a fresh crushed rock minerality, and really lovely concentration, richness on the tongue, a creamy texture with a firm hand of acidity, and that minerality also lengthening the finish. Plenty of fruit to match. Excellent juice. The 2011 Riesling Cuvée Theo, Theo's the father, and he passed away all too young, just like the daughter did a year ago, Lauren Fowler. And what a shame, one of the greatest women winemakers of France. And this wine, textbook Riesling, crisp apple and lime citrus on the tongue. Really salivating. There's Rieslings here from 2011. Lovely balance. Not a blockbuster in size again, but drinking beautifully already at its young stage in life. Excellent juice. The Gewürztraminer Cuvée Theo. Wow, this wine, just an amplified version of the Reserve Personnel. smell. 2013, like I said, very forward and seductive. That lovely rose petal, lychee, a slight oily texture to the tongue. Nice amount of that perfume and white pepper spice on the finish. Wonderfully balanced here. Sweet, but has beautiful acidity to match. The Riesling Schlossberg, the only Grand Cru we had. Well, they don't have Premier Cru, but a lot of the Cuvée St. Catherine wines and Cuvée Theo wines are like Premier Cru to me in terms of richness. This wine, though, the Schlossberg, at another level. 2013, very intense bouquet of lemon zest, slate, white, fleshy fruit. Even more intense on the second day. You could just tell this wine is definitely in need of a little bottle age. Wonderful intensity on the palate, that juicy, zesty citrus, juicy peach, and crisp apple. That lovely slate-like minerality showing. Very explosive. This wine needs a decade in the bottle. The wine of the night for me, most excellent juice, and that's what we had. Oh, I'm sorry, we finished up with a little dessert wine. You know you're always going to get extra at a Wine Watch tasting. I had this bottle of 2003 Gewürztraminer Wendisch Tardif in the fridge for I don't know how long. It wasn't from Domaine Weinbach. It was from Ostertag, another one of my favorite producers. And this wine, just incredibly succulent peach and lychee fruit, sweet, maybe not as acidic as some people would have wished for. You know who you are. And but still had enough acidity to balance out the incredible sweetness. These vintage Tardif wines picked late. Sometimes they have botrytis. It's not necessary. That's the Selection Grain Noble wines. And very rare and very expensive. So like I said, I just happened to have that bottle in the fridge. And for those people that have never experienced dessert wines from Alsace, like I said, you know you're always getting extra at a Wine Watch event. Our vintage Tardif Gewürztraminer from Ostertag, most excellent juice. All right, that's what we had to drink at our Weinbach tasting. I'm your host, Andrew Lampasoni, signing off for the Wine Watch, saying remember, always drink the good stuff first.